Ahoy, peace and blessings, welcome back. Today we're talking about my experience working with the devil. You feel me? The monster, the beast, you feel me? Hey, this the best flavor, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Only one I drink, best flavor, for sure. I already know, I see into the future. I already know people gonna be like, oh, you a devil worshiper, something like that. So, here's my devil video. Here's what I think about the devil, my experiences with the devil. All right, the most interesting spirit in the world to me personally, right? Why does the devil even exist? You get what I'm saying? Why did God make the devil, right? Very interesting. All right, first I'm gonna start out with this. Acts 10:38. God anointed Jesus of Nazareth. That goes into my video. God is not Jesus, right? Multi-dimensional nature, right? Jesus is God, right? So either God anointed Jesus, right? Or Jesus anointed himself, right? Either one. God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and power, and how he went around doing good and healing all who were under the power of the devil because God was with him. Right? Again, Jesus and God not the same, right? God was with Jesus. Jesus going around healing people from the powers of the devil, right? All good, all good, right? You have to know what the devil really is to heal people from that power, from that negative spirit, right? You have to know what demons are, tell people from demons, right? You have to know what crime is, right? To arrest people, right? For justice. You get what I'm saying? You have to know what harm is in the first place in order not to do it. You have to know what being a good person is. You have to know what being a bad person is. You have to know what being a good spirit is. You have to know what being a bad spirit is in order for you to decipher these things, in order for your manifestations and your healing to come true in the way that you want them to, right? So if you've never really had experiences with the devil, right, you can still heal people, right? Your healing just won't be as strong, truthfully, right? You're kind of going in blind. You get what I mean? So when you can actually see the power of the devil, when you know what the devil really is, right, it brings you really closer to good. You understand what is not that, right? Because people have to start taking responsibility. You get what I mean? Everything isn't just the devil. Everything evil in the world isn't just the devil, right? People have to take responsibility, right? Those people who used to pick on you, bully you, beat you up are not the devil. These people dropping bombs on people, kidnapping people, taking people hostage, right? Not the devil, right? These are people with names. You get what I mean? People with names and parents and grandparents and IDs and passports and things like that, right? But people will call them the devil, right? Just because that's like a term, right? So people use that term. People throw out that term devil, demon, right? But they're just talking about people like 99% of the time. 99% of the time, right? People say Trump is the devil. Trump is just a person. Okay, Trump is not the devil, right? They'll say Ronald Reagan's the devil. Ronald Reagan is not a devil. He's just a person, right? People say, oh, these cops and are demons and pigs. They're just people. You get what I mean? These criminals, these people doing wrong to the world, right, are actually just people, right? People will call them demons and devils as an insult, like, you know what I'm saying, like a curse word or something like that, right? But the devil, the spirit of the devil is one thing, it's one person. And people don't have to be under the control of the devil to do evil. People do evil on their own free will, right? So when you take into account free will and responsibility, okay, most of the harm and wrong being done in the world is because of people, right? I'll say 99.99% of it is literally people, right? A small portion of that is demons, right? This is where spiritual people come in, healers and cleansers and things like that, right? For that literally 0.01%, right? But most of this is just people's own arrogance and ego and aggression and wrath. The same thing true with God. You get what I mean? Most of the good being done in the world, again, is because of people. These doctors, these nurses, these construction workers, these engineers, you get what I mean? These farmers, these volunteer organizations and things like that, right? These are people, literally, these are people, right? Someone may say, oh, this is God, right? Right? You could give a homeless person some money and they'll say, oh my God, thank God. But it was literally you. You get what I mean? It was you, right? But we tend to attach human energy to God and to the devil, right? We have to stop doing that as a community. As your spirit really goes, you'll understand the difference of these are people doing this, these are angels doing this, these are demons doing this, this is the devil doing this is God doing this. When God actually takes a hand into the world of people, it is some magical stuff, right? If you don't see no real magic going on, it's probably not God, right? You see people giving money and volunteering. These are just good people, right? You could be a good person and not be an angel, right? Same way you can be a bad person and not be a demon or a devil, right? We have to make this distinction clear. And just for, rationality and just for precision in our speech, we should stop calling people the devil and demons who are not. We should stop calling people gods and angels who are just good people. You get what I mean? We use these things as adjectives, right? And I'm making this video to tell you the devil is a real spirit. This is the spirit I'm talking about. The real spirit, the devil. You get what I mean? That's his name, the devil, literally, right? These other people have names. That's not the devil. They're not the same thing, right? Now you may ask, right, why am I on good terms with the devil, right? Why do I work with the devil? What the fuck is wrong with me? What will make me work with the devil, right? Okay, listen to this. John 6:70. Then Jesus replied, have I not chosen you, the 12? Yet one of you is a devil, right? Jesus was using this term in the same way, okay? He was calling multiple people devils, right? He was calling Judas a devil, you get what I mean? But also when he was in the wilderness for 40 days, he was saying the devil was tempting him, right? The devil was with him. Was Judas with him? No, Judas was not with him in the wilderness, right? So even Jesus uses the term the devil in multiple ways as if there's multiple devils, right? But again, Jesus did not write this book. And also, if you read, the non-canon gospels and things like that, right? Judas was really Jesus' best friend. You can go research that. You get what I mean? The real words of Jesus and stuff like that, right? Remember, everything Judas was doing was planned. You get what I mean? Jesus is a clairvoyant. He knew exactly what Judas was doing, right? In the same way he was trying to teach even Judas, right? Like he was trying to teach everyone else. You get what I mean? Jesus was not discriminatory, right? Jesus was even teaching demons and devils, right? Even one of his disciples was a devil. Double-edged sword. This is why I do not listen to Jesus's disciples like that. I don't really care about the Bible like that, honestly, right? These are all his disciples' words. He was even calling his disciples devils and Satans, right? He was calling Judas a devil. He was calling Peter Satan, right? So the energy, again, is what it is, right? You're either good or bad, right? You're either trying to do better, trying to do worse, right? Or giving up. You get what I mean? But these terms, right, will come into your life in a specific way. Okay, because you are a God, you are a goddess, right? We all live in our own worlds. How this energy came to me, right, is the true energy, right, for me. How this energy comes to you, right, will go through your filters. You get what I mean? Will go through your God, your angels, your demons, your ancestors, and affect you in a different way. You get what I mean? But the energy is still the energy, no matter how it affects you, right? Some people have more spiritual protection than others. Some people don't have any. You get what I mean? I have no shields at all, right? I don't need a shield. You get what I mean? I have no swords at all. I don't need a sword. You get what I mean? Some people think, they're a spiritual tank and stuff like that, right? I'm just a spirit. I'm just a soul. You get what I mean? Nothing can harm me. I'm literally just God, right? God doesn't need an armor. God doesn't need a shield. God doesn't need a sword, right? In the book, they tell you to put on those clothings and things like that, right? The first clothing Jesus had in the book was some scraps from his father. You get what I mean? He didn't have no armor or nothing, right? Jesus telling people, put down the sword, right? Put down the swords, put down the armor, put down the shields, right? This is really the way, right? We're not about to go bust everybody's heads. You get what I mean? That'll literally fix nothing. That's how we got here now, right? The same people who are not the devil, who are not demons, right? The same way Peter wasn't actually a devil or something like that. Judas wasn't actually a devil, right? They be doing some devil things, right? But it's the idea, it's the ideology of, hey, you're doing wrong, right? That's how other people use it, right? Even Jesus was using it. But I'm telling you guys, right, a higher spiritual community about the real devil. Okay, I'll begin now, right? So why would I work with the devil, right? Okay, so it is the polarity consciousness, right? The we are all one consciousness, right? You'll see these hippies and these other, you know what I mean, spiritual people talking about we're all one, right? There is a dimension where we are all one, right? There's a dimension where we are all separate, right? Like in this reality, right? Your body gets sick doesn't mean my body's going to get sick. Your body feels pleasure doesn't mean my body's going to feel pleasure. You get what I mean? We are separate beings, right? But in this reality, in this higher dream state, this higher consciousness, right? This evolutionary state of polarity consciousness, we are actually all one being. We're actually all one spirit, one soul, right? The way these other people use it. But they don't take the definitions and the meaning of what they actually are, right? All and everything. That includes demons, that includes devils, that includes Satans, that includes people who've done you wrong, right? We're literally all one, even the negative people, right? Even the devil, right? This is true polarity consciousness, right? That is why it's so important to practice forgiveness, right? And knowing how strong you really are, right? You're literally impenetrable, immortal. You get what I mean? On a soul level, on a spirit level, right? Nothing negative can really happen to you on a spiritual level. You get what I mean? In your strongest state, in your highest state, your spirit can't even stub its toe. You get what I mean? Your spirit will never touch the ground, truly. So in that polarity state, I understand, we have to make peace even with our enemies, right? We have to teach our enemies to even do better, right? Convince them, right? Persuade them, coerce them, you get what I mean, into doing better, into doing the right thing, into being more like us, into living a more truthful, loving, peaceful, calming, relaxing, right? Intelligent way of life instead of a destructive, hateful, harmful, you get what I mean, degenerative way of life, right? So I have spent a lot of time working with the devil, right? Just teaching him, you get what I mean, not to be a devil, right? Teaching the devil not to be a devil. You get what I mean? This is the difference, right? Please bear this difference in mind. You get what I'm talking about? The real one, not just somebody else, right? I've taught a lot of other people not to be a negative person, not to be a devil, not to be a demon, not to be in their negative state, right? I mean, the real devil. You get what I'm saying? Right? Just like your guardian angels and things like that, okay? The devil may be with you for your entire life. You get what I'm saying? Me and the devil were having a conversation the other day, like, hey, remember, when you was a kid, I used to attack you and things like that? And I'm like, yeah, you remember when I was motherfucking impenetrable and vulnerable and your attacks didn't do shit? You get what I'm saying? I don't understand why people are so scared of the devil, right? Pretending they follow the Bible, pretending they've read the Bible, right? When even the Bible says fear nothing but God. You get what I mean? You are stronger than the devil, right? That is why I reach my hand out to weaker people like the devil. You get what I'm saying? Like these other things, right? I'm not going to go into my ego right now, but to these harmful spirits, you get what I'm saying? Because I know I can change them, right? I know I have that power. I can teach them, right? Because I actually am inspired by Jesus. You get what I'm saying? I will walk that way. I'll do those same things in the same way Jesus was teaching the devil, right? But these fake Christians and things like that want to say, oh, kill all the demons, kill all the devils and stuff like that, right? I've been there, done that. You get what I'm saying? You can see that. You got your third eye open. You can see that. You get what I'm saying? Ain't nothing to me, right? But I've matured, right? I've gotten older. You get what I mean? And I understand that is not the real way. Even if we were to kill all these devils on the earth, all these demons, all these satans on the earth, right? They will literally come back, right? Because it is an idea, right? It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. It's a state of being. It's a way of life, literally. It's a way of breathing in and breathing out. You get what I mean? To be a negative person, to be a devil, to be a Satan, to be a demon is literally a way of thinking about yourself in the outside world. Okay, the way Jesus thought about himself in the outside world is not the way a devil thinks about himself in the outside world. And this is what I'm teaching you. I'm teaching you how to think about yourself in the outside world in a higher way you may have not heard of. You definitely have not heard of from no preacher, no pastor, no astrologer, no magician. So I spend a lot of my time teaching the devil, working with the devil, we were having a conversation the other day. And again, your reality is not my reality. You meet the devil, you may have to do all this, or you may have to do something else. You may choose to destroy him, right? I've destroyed the devil before, but again, like I said, that spirit will come back, right? That spirit is immortal. I want you to understand this. Even in the Bible, right? Michael kicked out Satan. It was Lucifer. It really wasn't even the devil, but a lot of people confuse them, right? They say, oh, they killed the devils, right? Even Jesus was throwing devils into pigs and stuff like that, right? But a lot of higher spirits won't actually kill demons or devils, right? Because we're on this path. We have to actually change them or it'll never work. They'll just regenerate and come back with more numbers. Literally, right? The seed of hate will grow more hate trees and they'll spread more seeds, right? The seed of love will grow love trees and spread more love, right? The seed of peace will grow more peace trees. You know what I'm saying? Spread more peace. Acts 10:15. Do not call anything impure that God has made clean, right? So I spent a lot of time working with the devil, making that spirit clean. You get what I mean? The same way a lot of angels worked with me to make my spirit more clean. You get what I mean? You can have an ego about yourself thinking you're clean, thinking you're doing the right thing, thinking you're righteous, right? But until God actually speaks to you, until angels actually speak to you, until demons and devils actually speak to you, right? Until you get more experience, right? More of the outside world coming into you, right? More eyes on you, right? More voices on you. You know what I mean? More ears hearing what you have to say, right? You'll know how clean you really are. You get what I mean? I thought I was very, very clean and things like that, right? Like 10 years ago, right? But I went through, you get what I mean, a metamorphosis, right? A physical metamorphosis. You get what I'm saying? A true ascension. And, you know, it's like small details, right? You could be 99% doing the right thing, right? Your own way, right? How you were taught, right? Maybe you're listening to other people, whatever you're doing, right? Reading books, whatever. And you could be doing 99% the right thing, right? But angels and God would come to try to make you 100% pure, or even if you're 99, they may try to make you 99.5% pure. You know what I'm saying? Every little bit is good. You get what I mean? You want to get behind your ears. You get what I'm saying? You want to get your belly button right, the cracks and the creases right. You fat. You gotta get under the rolls and stuff, right? You're trying to be 100% clean, 100% pure, right? That is the true goal of ascension, right? Being 100% your true self, right? So I've been spending time, you know, in the past, you know, trying to make the devil more clean. You get what I mean? Because I understand the polarity consciousness, right? I understand energy doesn't die, right? It just transforms, right? So stop trying to kill these demons and devils unless you have to, right? You know what I'm saying? I understand sometimes it's like that, but I don't recommend that at all as a more advanced spiritual person. You get what I mean? You have to literally transform them. That is the true cleansing, right? The spirit is dirty. You can't destroy this spirit. You know, you can on that guy level, you can, but a lot of them are strong as fuck, right? A lot of them are mortal. Some of them may be stronger than you, right? Just because they're a demon, or a devil doesn't mean they're actually weaker than you. They may just be in a more negative state to you in the same way, right? A bodybuilder may get drunk, may be angry. That doesn't automatically make them weaker than you. You get what I mean? Someone can have 200, 300 pounds on you, right? But just because they're a hater, don't, you know what I'm saying? It's just like levels to it. It's levels to it. But yeah, you know, the spirit of the devil, when he came to me originally, right, in my ascension, right, because again, he's been attacking me since I was a kid, right? Back when I did have shills and things like that, I was very protected as a child, right? Thank God for, you know, my ancestors and things like that. You know, I'm like, yeah, I remember seeing you all the time, you know, you ain't never do shit for real, right? You was just a minor annoyance, right? Once you reach that real higher state, you know, these things are kind of just minor annoyances. Annoyances at the end of the day, right? Annoyances are bad, right? We don't want to be annoyed or nothing, right? We don't want to be pushed into aggression. So I'm just like, yeah, you know, I remember that. I remember that stuff, right? You wasn't shit, you know, but as a true warrior, you know, you have to think, right? Once you get your spiritual weapons, you know, I'm trying to make people skip that path, right? But I know some people have already been on that path, right? Going over with demons and devils and things like that, right? I have been. So I'm speaking in the past tense, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, I remember destroying demons left and right, literally left and right. Yeah, I'm saying with my eyes closed, literally left and right. But I'm like, yeah, I could never destroy you, or like I destroy you and you'd come back. I'm like, most of these demons wouldn't come back, right? Because God has given me that power where energy actually can be destroyed, and I understand it's actually a very negative power, right? He gave me that power so I can actually see how negative it is, right? Sometimes God will bless you with negativity, literally, just so you can grow. You get what I'm saying? I hope he never does that to you, but I'm saying this is what happened to me. You know what I'm saying? This is why I'm trying to steer your path. I'm trying to make your street. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make your clouds. I'm trying to make your ocean, right? So you can travel in your street. You can travel in with your car and your feet, your waves. You can travel in your boat, your sky. You can travel in your planes, your space. You can travel in with your spaceship, right? I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? Make sure there's no potholes in it. Make sure there's no icebergs in it you're going to run into. You know what I'm saying? Make sure there's no thunder clouds trying to strike you down. You know what I'm saying? Make sure there's no aliens trying to abduct you. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make your street, right? Your wave, your earth, your planet, your existence, your spirit, your soul more clean, right? Less destructive, right? So I'm like, yeah, I know you always come back, right? And this is the knowledge that I received, right? Why none of these like billions, let's say infinite, right? Because there's dimensions on dimensions. Why none of these infinite angels, right, can destroy the one devil, right? Or destroy these, right, other demons, right? Angels can destroy demons, right, left and right, just like me. You know what I'm saying? But I've noticed, even the angels I've seen in my real life, we've never destroyed the devil. Why have we never destroyed the devil, right? The devil is a training program. It's a testing program for a righteous spirit. You get what I mean? This is the conclusion I've come to. Why can't these billions of angels destroy the devil, right? Because God is protecting the devil, literally, right? I want to make this very clear again. These people, right, doing evil, right, dropping bombs on people, all kind of negative stuff, right, is not the devil, okay? I'm talking about that one spirit, right? They may be a devil or whatever, They're not the devil, okay? It is for these higher spirits, especially these higher warrior spirits, okay, right, to understand that it's not all about destruction. It's about transformation. The same way you transformed yourself into a higher spirit, into a more peaceful spirit, into a healthier spirit, you have to take that energy even to your enemies so they can transform and become lighter and brighter. It's not always about destroying them. And that's where a lot of spiritual people get wrong. They think we're supposed to destroy everything. How spiritual are you when you think you're supposed to destroy everything? How righteous are you when you think you're supposed to destroy everything? How loving and peaceful are you and calm are you? Right? How forgiving are you? How merciful are you? Right? We honor the God of mercy and forgiveness. You get what I'm saying? Our lives can be way harder than what it is. You get what I'm saying? There's so many people with worse lives who've been through way more stuff than you. You get what I mean? I'm talking about even children. You get what I'm saying? So we have to understand the grace and the mercy we've been put in, right? And extend that to even those who may seem undeserving, to literally everyone, especially the people who seem undeserving. I'm speaking that from the heart, right? I got real ops. You get what I'm saying? I know my future self, right? Even the self down here, I have to forgive these people. That's ultimately what it is on a spiritual level. If I'm trying to be that master I say I am, if I'm trying to be ascended how I say I am, right? If I'm trying to be loving, peaceful, pure, happy, righteous like I say I am, right? I have to offer that forgiveness even to people who've done me wrong. You get what I mean? And that is way harder than just the words. That's way harder than what it sounds. You get what I'm saying? People who've done you wrong, imagine the people who've done the worst for you, right? Personally, in a personal perspective, right? The people you know their names or you know them. You know what I'm saying? Imagine those people who've done you wrong. Now take that into another step, right? The invisible forces who've done you wrong. You get what I'm saying? We even have to change these people, forgive these people, show mercy to these people, right? Because we understand our true energy. Our true energy can be completely destructive, right? And this is where God comes in. God doesn't want us to be that way, truly, right? Because when you're in that state, you're not thinking clearly at all, right? The same way these leaders of the world are trying to destroy what they consider evil, right? These people making nukes and stuff, they're going to end up harming innocent children, right? That is not worth it, right? That's not worth it at all. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in that negative state, you think you got to just destroy. It doesn't matter what's in your way. You get what I'm saying? That's that devil energy. The devil doesn't see things clearly a lot of times, right? Most of the time, right? This is the things we're trying to teach him, right? To see things actually clearly, right? To understand God made even you, right? This is what I'm telling the devil. God made even you. God made you immortal, indestructible. You coming back to life. You are a force of nature, literally. You get what I'm saying? One of the most powerful forces of nature. You get what I'm saying? Compared to especially everything on the earth, you get what I'm saying? You're super powerful, super strong, right? You are just lacking wisdom. You get what I'm saying? Your wisdom is flawed. The way you see things are flawed, right? The things I'm teaching the devil, right? You could really just do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? On some positive energy, you know what I'm saying? You can go do some positive things, right? But you are, like they say, like a wild lion, right? The devil in the past, right? When I first was working with the devil and stuff, right? He didn't know how to communicate even. You get what I'm saying? He didn't even know how to speak, right? Like an animal with rabies or something. Destructive energy will blind you. So the devil was filled with nothing but like chaotic, destructive energy. It was a force, right? Erase the name of the devil, right? It was a force of energy, right? That was nothing but chaotic and destructive and didn't have any intelligence, right? Besides the intelligence it had was just destroy. Chaos wasn't necessarily trying to harm people even. It was just destroy everything it touches, like a black hole or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a volcano. You know what I'm saying? Just destroy everything. Whatever I see, destroy it. Right? That's the real devil energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, so I understand, right? I have the power to create life. I have the power to transform. I'm like, you could be doing so many cooler things, right? There's so many other angels and other gods and other beings I've worked with and I've seen, I'm friends with and things like that, I'm family with, who also can be even more destructive than the devil. And that's the trick they play on you. You can be more destructive than the devil. You know what I mean? People can be more destructive than the devil. That's the trick, right? The devil, like I was saying, I don't want to say hypocritical, is a strong spirit, but we are even stronger than that spirit. You get what I'm saying? but we don't have to act in those impulses. You get what I'm saying? Men know this. We have to hold a lot of our destructive energy back. You should hold back 100% of your destructive energy, right? Unless you're actually under immediate threat, in my opinion. You get what I mean? It's like we know we're strong. We know we could go beat up everybody. You get what I'm saying? We're not supposed to be going beating up everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's how we got here now, right? These crusaders and these conquistadors. You know what I'm saying? These they pirates pretty much. These conquerors, right? These conquerors came, right, with their gang, with their group of men, right? You know what I'm saying? Graping and pillaging everybody, taking over everything. And now look at the world. They're fighting their own wars. They're trapped in their own little boxes trying to destroy everything, right? Not attached to any spirit, not attached to any higher energy. You know what I'm saying? Can't get any women, right? All these millions of men on the internet talking about how to get women when it's the easiest to get women it's ever been in the entire freaking world. You know what I'm saying? They're researching spirituality, all this stuff, right? Because getting in contact with the spirit is like the hardest thing to do now, when it should be the first thing. You get what I'm saying? You're born like that, right? But you know, the world is corrupt. But not talking about the world, actually talking about, you know, the topic of the video, right? My experience working with the devil. You know, it was mostly just a teacher aspect, right? Trying to teach him, like I'm trying to teach all these other people, like even in real life, teach my young homies, you know, don't do that, do this. You get what I'm saying? It's the same thing, same exact thing. Just like, hey man, you're very powerful, obviously, right? You need to become smarter. That's the main thing, right? Really, the smarter you are, the more peaceful you are. You know, the smarter you are, the more loving and forgiving you are. Truly, you know, God's like the smartest spirit in the world, right? He's also the most forgiving, most merciful, right? And those are the aspects of God that he doesn't use, right? And it's because it's like a training program. It's a place for our spirits to get stronger, our kids to get stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like a school, right? Jesus said he was a teacher. You have to understand the whole world is a teacher. Okay? The whole world is a teacher. The devil himself is a teacher. You get what I mean? These spirits will teach you things about yourself and about the world and about God. So when we go to higher places, when we ascend, you get what I mean, in our afterlife, in our next reincarnations and things like that, right? We'll be in somewhere better with also a better mind state, right? So all these people want to go to heaven, right? More magical practitioners want to go to even a better place than that, make their own heaven, things like that, right? But you have to have the mind state and you have to be deserving of that energy. There's no handouts. You get what I'm saying? Your spirit is a spirit. You know, you're a spirit for a reason. You're a soul for a reason, right? What are the attributes of your soul? You get what I mean? Are you forgiving? Are you loving? Or are you willing to go destroy everything, right? As if that's the best option. The best option is never destroy everything. The best option is always transform them into being more like you. You get what I mean? Like a healthy parasite. You get what I'm saying? And that is the trick of the world. You know, there's like not the opposite of a parasite. You get what I'm saying? It's like a healthy parasite, literally. Imagine a virus, right? Imagine COVID, but instead of destroying people, it went and healed everyone. Imagine that. That's the energy that we're kind of pushing out. We're going to go and literally heal everyone. We're going to go and transform everyone, right? The opposite of COVID, right? COVID making people sick as of what if these things were, you know, on a guide level, right? I'm not trying to go there first, but on a guide level, once it came to my brain, right? Bringing people back to life and things like that, right? On a guide level, right? You know, making people healthy, right? Just going around like a healthy virus, like a healthy parasite, making people lose 200 pounds. You know, these 600-pound women that make people lose 300-400 pounds and stuff like that, right? Making the men gain 50-100 pounds and stuff like that, right? Making us more intelligent and things like that, right? Like a healthy parasite, like a healthy virus, right? Like an antivirus, like an anti-parasite. You get what I mean? Antivirus, firewall, right? These are like tricks. You know, these are hints. You get what I mean? These are hints. And I know just in that polarity consciousness, we do all come together, right? And I'm not saying I'm at that state now where I do forgive all my enemies, right? But I'm working on it the same way, you know, me and the dog are working together, right? He's not all the way there now, you know what I mean? But we're working on it. That's the thing. We're working on it, right? These things take time. We have to change truly, right? Saying you change and actually changing is not the same thing. You get what I mean? Right? But if you are, you know, a beginner to spirituality and things like that, I would stay away for a while. You know, I would stay away from a while, right? Now, this is the thing, okay? Like I said a couple days ago or whatever, I was talking to Dylan and stuff, right? He was appearing in my dreams, right? Very positive dreams. He was telling me a lot of things, right? The same way they say in the Bible, you know, the devil was a lion and things like that, right? I had one dream, right? I was killing lions and stuff like that, right? I had another dream, Like, one of my family members adopted the devil, literally. Right, grown ass man, you know what I'm saying? Imagine adopting like a 25-year-old or something. They done adopted, you know what I'm saying? It's a dream. They done adopted the devil, niggas like 25. And all these lions just start, you know what I mean, being around the house and stuff. Like, you know, I made that connection. Like, oh shit, that's the motherfucking devil. Right? It's whatever though. It's whatever. You know, at this point, it's like my spiritual little brother. You know, because I preach that, I say that, you know, I teach that, right? God will adopt you, right? God has even adopted the devil. You get what I'm saying? Because we're all just trying to be in, you know, more righteous and a more peaceful state. You get what I mean? But truly, you know, when I first met the devil really didn't want to do nothing but destroy and be chaotic, like it says in the book, right? But you can transform that spirit, right? Everyone's in their own world, right? So in my world, that's my devil now, right? But everyone has their own ideas of the devil, right? This isn't the prominent idea of the devil, right? In, you know, right, our generation and current society and things like that, right? I'm just reminding you, you have the power to transform even the devil, right? You have the power to transform your worst enemies. You have the power to transform even these criminals and things like that, right? We all know the justice system, the prison system isn't working, right? People go to prison for 10 years, 15 years, get out, be free for less than a year, go right back in, right? This isn't a real rehabilitation. This isn't a real cleansing. This isn't a real transformation. You get what I mean? So I'm talking about a true spiritual cleansing, transformation, rebirth. That's kind of the energy I've been getting from the devil, you know. I understand I'm a God. I understand I got gods watching my back even. You get what I'm saying? I understand I'm an angel. I understand I got angels watching my back. You get what I'm saying? If we want to go there, I understand I'm a devil. You know what I'm saying? I understand I got devils watching my back, literally, right? I just don't want to be in that state, but I understand that that's who I am. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, let's all be in that more positive energy, right? Let's transform. We don't ever have to be devils again. We don't ever have to be Satans again. We don't ever have to be fallen again. You get what I mean? We don't ever have to be some haters, some thieves, some crooks, some criminals, some, you know what I'm saying, some lowlife, some degenerates, right? We can be, you know what I'm saying, who we are, right? Sons and daughters of God. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling the devil that shit because the way I'm thinking about the devil and God isn't even the way the devil was thinking about it, right? Because he wasn't thinking at all. I'm like, bro, God made you for a reason. Like, this has to be this is the only reason that makes sense. You get, I mean, logically, this is the only reason that makes sense, right? To teach even angels, right? Because usually it's angels and other high spirits, right? Other high gods, right? People who call themselves angels, people who call themselves guys, right? They're going to deal with you. They're going to try to deal with that energy in their life, right? So it's like a training program. You know, most people just, oh, I'm going to stay away from it because I'm just a regular human, you know, whatever, I'm weak and things like that, right? I'm not ready for it, right? Reasonable, you get what I mean? But there's us, right? With our higher selves, our higher egos, you get what I mean? Thinking the ego is bad is nothing but ego in the first place, right? Ego is good. There's a good ego. You know, us and our higher egos and our super egos and things like that, and our good egos, you get what I mean? Like, hey, bro, like, just change a little bit, you know? At the end of the day, that's really what it is. You know, be cool, right? God's giving you all this freedom. Like, you can literally travel the whole earth. You get what I mean? God's giving you all this freedom. We can't even travel the whole earth without passports and all these other things. You get what I'm saying? God's giving you power, right? Use your power for good. Use your power for something better. At least use your power for yourself. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, you think you're destroying things, you're only going to destroy some weak things anyway, right? The strongest people are immortal, right? You can't destroy no gods or nothing like that. Like, I'm just giving him the truth. Like, the only reason, you know what I'm saying? The only reason we ain't destroy you is because God is not allowing us to destroy you. You know what I'm saying? I peep the truth. We would have been destroyed you, right? I'm one of the strongest angels. I'm like, there's angels 1,000 times stronger than me and all that stuff. I'm like, man, we would have been destroyed you. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, understand you in God's grace even. Understand even the devil is in God's grace. This is how graceful God is, right? All praises to the Most High and stuff. You get what I'm saying? This is how loving God even is, right? They tell you in the book, right? These books weren't written by Jesus, weren't written by God. They say, oh, God is waiting for a time. Right? God could have been destroyed him. You get what I'm saying? Imagine superpower, right? Omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful, right? He could have been destroyed the devil. He's not worried about the devil at all. At all. You shouldn't be either. You're stronger than him. You shouldn't be worried about your enemies, right? You're stronger than them at the end of the day. They're not stopping anything, right? They may try to put roadblocks in your road. They may try to put icebergs in your ocean. They may try to put thunderclouds in your sky. They may try to put, you know what I'm saying, spaceships in your space, right? Aliens in your space and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But they're not stopping anything. You know, the devil's not going to stop you, right? But understand, you're in your own world. You may have to deal with this in your own way, right? But this is my experience, and I hope it does help you, right? Maybe you have to deal with this energy. Maybe you're curious about this energy, etc., etc. Right? But like I said, you know, the devil couldn't even speak. You know, I taught him how to speak. Like, brother, you're obviously, you know, you obviously can speak. I'm like, I see God even in you. You get what I'm saying? This is the difference. I see God even in the devil, right? I see God in everything, even in my ops and shit. You know, it's just like, why are you acting that way? All right. That's your personality. You know what I'm saying? That's just your personality. Like, that's a weak ass personality. You know what I'm saying? You lucky God protecting you for real. You lucky God protecting you for real. You feel me? Right? Some siblings fighting, right? You lucky mom here. You lucky dad here. You get what I'm saying? You lucky God protecting you for real. Because we would have ripped you up. Right? But that would have made us worse. You get what I'm saying? Siblings aren't supposed to fight. You get what I'm saying? We're not supposed to ever put our fist up, for real. But, you know, if you do want to work with the devil, you know, the devil has superpowers. You get what I'm saying? Once you get close with them, I wouldn't do anything until you actually get close with them. But he knows a lot about the world, you know. I wouldn't be scared to work with him either, though. You get what I mean? If you want to include him into one of your spells, one of your rituals, you get what I mean? I would advise you to do some love and peaceful things. Right? You're doing all these positive spells and stuff for you. You know, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to do some positive spells and rituals for the devil, literally. And these spirits that need it, right? These other devils, these other Satans that need it even more than you, right? This is a non-selfish energy, right? This is a polarity energy. We are all one, right? The same way a lot of people just, higher self, right? Right? You should work with your lower self too. Your lower self needs it more than you do. Your lower self needs it more than your higher self does. You get what I'm saying? All right, this video already like 40 minutes. I gotta edit this, but look, I want y'all to understand something. All right, this is why I used to call myself a Satanist, right? I don't do that anymore, right? But I want you to understand something. Listen to the words. When Jesus was in the wilderness for 40 days, right? The devil came to him, right? Not Peter, who we call Satan, right? Peter wasn't up there chilling with him, right? Not Judas, right? They called Judas the devil. Judas wasn't up there chilling with him, right? The devil, the actual devil, not a Satan, not a demon, the one, right? The devil was telling him, right? Take over the fucking world, right? Become king of the world, right? Jesus is like, nah, right? If you were up there with Jesus for 40 days, right? Just y'all two, what would y'all say to him? Okay. Every Christian, all these people be in my comments, Jesus is king. Isn't that the same thing the devil was telling Jesus? You are king of this. You are literally God. Take over this. Right? That's why really Satanists be closer to God than most Christians, honestly. The devils be closer to God than most Christians, right? His disciples were literally devils and Satans. That's what he was calling his own disciples, devils and Satans. He wasn't calling his disciples Christians. Right? This is why I be closer to that energy, right? Because I would rather Jesus act as God on the earth in the flesh, right? Become king of this, literally, right? Let's get these bombs to stop dropping. Let's get these, you know what I mean, this evil out of the world, literally. You're strong enough to do this, Jesus. Right? Hey, devil. Hey, Jesus. Hey, hey, Jesus. Take over the whole fucking world, right? This is really what most Christians want. Jesus is king, right? So what was really wrong with the devil? You get what I'm saying? The devil was saying the same thing these Christians were saying. Take over the world, Jesus. You are king, Jesus. Right? So people attach so much energy to these words, right? But these words have actual energy and spirits behind them. You get what I mean? Not once in the whole Bible did Jesus go kill a demon. Did Jesus go kill a devil? Right? Jesus was more worried about the men and the women on the planet, not the spirits who coexist with them. Right? Even when Jesus took the demons out of the people and put them into pigs, right? The demons were saying, "Oh shit, that's Jesus. He can kill us." Right? That's Jesus. Oh shit, please don't kill us. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Do anything but that. Right? Once you reach that spiritual state, that's how demons are really going to treat you. That's how devils are really going to treat you, right? Please don't kill us. Do something. Do anything but that, right? So that's how strong you are. I hope you know that. That's how strong you are. You're stronger than these demons. You're stronger than the devil. You're stronger than these devils. You're stronger than these satans, etc., right? But you're here to bring that energy up. You're here to teach these people, right? At least I am. I'm not sure what you're here to do, but, right, these stronger spirits, there's other high spirits here. And that is what we're doing. Right? We're transforming the evil of the world. We're rehabilitating the evil of the world. You get what I mean? Jesus obviously could have became king, right? Jesus obviously is king, right? I'm not denying that or nothing. Jesus is a king for sure. Jesus could have became king of the world and lived forever, right? But that wouldn't have, but we would not have had as much spiritual growth and as much time to learn. Right? School would have been cut short. You get what I'm saying? College would have been cut short, right? Spiritual knowledge, right? Spiritual school, spiritual college would have been cut short, right? It would have just been peace, right? So God is doing these things to make us deserving of the gifts he has for us. And I want you to understand this. Other guys, other angels want you to be deserving of your gifts, of your talents, of their blessing, right? They say we're all deserving, right? God doesn't show favoritism. It's really just how deserving are you? What's the personality of your spirit? What is your actions and your ideas, your thoughts, your emotions? You get what I mean? Your truth, right? I hope this video does help you. It's getting very long. I'm going to have to edit this and mix this, right? But peace and blessings, peace and super blessings, super peace, super blessings, you feel me? Hope y'all have a super day, super month, super year, super week. You feel me? I'm getting all out of order and stuff. Thank y'all for making it to the end, though. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, peace.